Good morning, good afternoon, welcome. As a reminder, if we can please have everyone mute their line. And for those of you that are not speaking today or part of the presentation, we're actually going to have you just turn off your webcam just until the Q&A portion, just to ensure that the speakers' little photos pop up just as they're speaking. So thank you so much. I'm Linda Turnage. I'm the NASCLA Business Development Director, and we are so excited for the Scholarship Award ceremony today. It is definitely not the initial intention. We were all supposed to be in Coronado, California. Al made it there, but we're all over here. And anyhow, we decided to do this virtually. So thank you all for joining in today. And once again, just a few housekeeping reminders. Just please mute your lines and turn off webcams until the Q&A segment portion of this presentation today. If you wish to have closed captioning, it is an option. So on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a black bar and you'll see a closed captioning option. If you just click on that, the subtitles will appear. And then with that, I am going to turn things over to Angie Whitaker, our NASCLA Executive Director, at this time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Good morning, everyone. I'm Angie Whitaker, NASCLA Executive Director. I wanted to start the ceremony off by going over the history of the NASCLA Scholarship Program. Our scholarship program was created and concluded with our action plan to develop an outreach method to address skilled workforce training through funding, partnerships, promoting skilled workers, addressing workforce shortages, and unlicensed contractors. The NASCLA Contractor Scholarship Program provides a chance for 3 recipients to be awarded up to $2,500 towards program tuition. Our first place recipient is awarded $2,500. Our second place recipient is rewarded $1,500, and our third place recipient is awarded $1,000. Each recipient was assigned an industry mentor and invited to participate in our virtual award ceremony and panel discussion. Our 2020 was the second year of the NASCLA Contractor Scholarship Program. We went from receiving 3 applicants last year to receiving 14 this year. So we're very excited to see the program grow. Additionally, our NASCLA business members can now sponsor a future industry professional. We are thrilled with how much the program has grown in just a single year and hope to see the program continue to grow and flourish in the years to come. At this time, I would like to personally acknowledge and thank our NASCLA Contractor Committee chairs, Stephen Thompson and Al Nyman, along with our staff members, Linda Turnage and Hannah Mount, for spearheading this program. At this time, I will pass things over to our NASCLA president, Tim Norman. Tim?
Well, congratulations on behalf of NASCLA's board of directors, our executive committees. This was something that I was really looking forward to as president, to be able to do this presentation in person. Obviously, 2020 has been a different year. I don't know if Zachary Ford has got online or not. Zach may be a little bit busy as he's getting married on December the 19th. So he's 32 days away from marriage. So maybe that's where he's at. But Philip, Hunter, and Gabriella, we're so proud of you. The construction industry has been so good to me and my family. It has provided for us an unreal lifestyle, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. The most satisfying thing that I think that you will ever experience, and I can say it from my experiences, if you go on and have kids, or especially grandkids, and you ride by a project and you can tell them, I had a part in that. It's quite rewarding. I hope that you get to do that someday. Again, congratulations from NASCLA, and we look forward to hearing the great things you're doing in the future. I'll turn it back over to Linda.
Thank you so much, Tim. We're honored to have you as our NASCLA president and be serving 2 terms this go around. So thank you. And with that, at this point, I would like to turn over the ceremony to our Master of Ceremonies. We have Al Nyman with Al Nyman with Transform SR Home Improvement Products. We have Stephen Thompson with Home Depot, and both of them serve as the NASCLA Contractors Committee co-chairs. So thank you to our Master of Ceremonies and co-chairs of this program. At this time, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Stephen Thompson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Thompson. I'm Director of Services Environmental Compliance with the Home Depot. And I could not be more thrilled to be here today watching this thing. You know, anytime you had the opportunity to take something from an idea, to work with the team, build it out, build it to creation, and then work with this amazing staff to take it into fruition, it's just an awesome day. And I could not be more proud of the individuals, all of the applicants, quite frankly. The decision to come up with who was our final choice was I mean, just gut-wrenching, quite frankly. And there was a lot of arguments and that sort of thing. But we've done our very best to select the very best, and we're pleased to have the opportunity to introduce them to you today. The one thing that I would tell you that we say in my organization, and it's really the way that you survive in this industry, and that's really just take care of your customers, take care of your employees, and everything else will take care of itself. And with that, I want to introduce my co-chair. Really, honestly, for those of you that know me, he is left, right arm, everything. Without the two of us, I'm not sure that this committee would have grown and have the connection to the industry that we do. And without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Al Nyman.
Oh, Al, I think you might be muted.
Sorry about that. To follow up with Stephen, we are virtually two heads with one body. I'd just like to say how extremely proud I am to know you all. Where you're at today, I was many years ago. I won't tell you how many years ago, but I will tell you that the knowledge of a slide rule was a prerequisite to the program. Those that aren't sure what a slide rule is, look it up on Wikipedia, you'd be surprised. I know the hills and valleys of what you go through, what you've gone through. I know the trials and tribulations. Most of all, I know what it's like to get through statics. What you have is the world ahead of you. And I thank you all for allowing us to be a part of your future. With that, we'll go to the next slide. Mentorship. When you become a mentor, you never know what the road ahead looks like for the mentee. You could shape the next generation of entrepreneurs, or you could be helping someone achieve their personal goals and dreams. Either way, you can make a difference. Make a difference is all that matters. With that, I'll turn it back to Linda for a brief comment from one of our mentors.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Now, unfortunately, Tromco could not join us today with Build SOS. He had an emergency come up, but he did want to share a personal message to the three winners today. So I'll go ahead and read that to the three of you. He spoke to the executive director of the Louisiana Associated General Contractors this morning, and he said that the construction industry is doing phenomenally well at this time, and they believe that it will continue to do so. In addition, the Contractors Board is very busy with large contractors making residential and commercial projects. In addition to the industrial sector, it is also showing increased projects announced in the tens of billions of dollars. So my advice is to stay connected to the pulse of the construction industry as they continue on their educational path, work experience, and etc. I'm available for email, phone call communication 24/7, 360 if I can help in any way. And I truly apologize for not being available for this presentation today. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Al.
Okay, well, thank you, Lynn. And I want to take the time to not only thank Chuck Marceau, but Stephen Thompson and David Turner for being the mentors for the year. Our expectations is that you and your mentee connect at least once a quarter as a minimum, following the initial introduction and award ceremony. We are so thankful for David, Chuck, and Stephen for accepting this opportunity. I will now turn things over to our mentors to introduce themselves and identify their mentees. Stephen?
Thanks, Al. Guys, I just would like to give you, unfortunately, Zachary was unable to join us today. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of overview of what his experience was like in attending last year's annual meeting. At the end of the day, he got to come to the annual meeting. He got to experience something that was quite interesting. He got to experience the leadership of the regulatory industry and contractor committee members' perspective of the youngest generation, which was really kind of cool, because as he came in, he began to see, they would talk about things like, these young people were completely embracing technology and so on and so forth, right? But here was the cool thing about this whole thing. It was an aha moment for all of us in the industry to say, wow, we're talking about these folks and how they're buried in their iPhones and all this, but we got to see the future of the industry in Zach Ford. And so we've been able to follow him and follow his career over the last year and work with him hand in hand, and now begin to understand how he uses technology to embrace the industry and broaden our minds in the way that we look at Generation X, Generation Y, Generation Z coming into the industry, and start to think about how we work in that regard. So my apologies on behalf of Zach that he was not able to be with us today, but goodness gracious, the guy's getting married right around the corner. I've got a son that's getting married on the 30th, so I certainly understand the stress that he's under. And can you imagine going through all of that right now with 2020 and COVID and all the craziness? It's got to just be amazing. So if you get a chance, send us a note, or send staff a note. We'll get a note over to Zach and let him know if you guys would like to congratulate him or follow up with him on what his past year has looked like. So with that, I'd like to take this opportunity and introduce our winners once again. From NASCLA's Contractor Scholarship Award recipients, for first place, we have Philip Christian from Mississippi State University. For second place, we have Hunter Smith from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. He is in the construction management program. And for third place, we have Gabriela Gonzalez, who is, I believe, at home today in Laredo. Which if you get a chance, we should all say a prayer for the folks in Laredo. They are having a really, really tough time with COVID. And Gabriela's with Texas A&M, just down the road a piece from where I am up in Dallas. And I want to say congratulations to each of you. We're so excited to hear from you today, learn from you. I want to take an opportunity to turn the mic to each of you and let you share with us your thoughts about where you're headed in the industry, your thoughts about how NASCLA can help you, and how we can improve this experience in the future. So with that, Philip, you're sitting there on green screen. We're ready to go to you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephen. And as he said, I'm Philip Christian. I go to Mississippi State University, and my major is really building construction science. I'm a junior, is my class rank, and I heard, NASCLA. I really would have appreciated it going to like the real thing. I do thank everybody. I take this opportunity to thank everybody for doing this, for giving us an opportunity to be recognized and things like that. I would have loved to do it in person, but I do thank you for doing this. I think it's a great thing. I think what the direction you guys are headed, not that I knew a whole lot about NASCLA before this, but it's great to see that there's a company out there that cares about people coming into the industry, not just the ones that are there currently, but want people that, we don't know everything. And the reason we don't is because we've never been there. We've never done it. But people that have been able to reach out to us and tell us, this is the way things work. And I say all three of us winners would say that we're better for it.
Philip, thank you. And thanks for sharing your thoughts. I have I'm sure someone else put this quote together at some point in history, but my belief and my philosophy in life is the best investments are those that pay dividends in blood, sweat, and tears. And this is certainly an industry that will teach you all of that. And we are pleased at NASCLA to have the opportunity to invest in your future. With that, I'd like to turn to Hunter and Hunter Smith. I'm as excited to have you to be your mentor as I think you are to be my mentee. So with that said, Hunter.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. So I'm Hunter Smith. I'm a junior construction management student at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Stephen is my mentor this year. We're going to have some great connections. I think he's got a lot to offer in aiding me in support for my future career. As far as the future career, I plan on getting with a large-scale general contractor for about 10 to 12 years. And then my real aspiration is to break off and start my own general contracting company. So I think NASCLA has done a really good job of supporting some of the scholarship winners in the past, and I have no doubt that they're going to help me on my path to success in the future. So I'd just like to take a second and thank everybody for their time and for helping me out with this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Hunter. And, I'll make a comment. When we were just kind of teeing this thing up, Hunter was talking about the fact that he was going to, we had an award. We were going to do a photo op, right? And his family is going through some issues, as many of us are connected to right now with COVID. My daughter's actually upstairs, locked up in a room with COVID right now. So we're really connected to that. And the one thing I want to say is, we said to Hunter, hey, look, don't worry about, he was like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to get that award, and so on and so forth. You've got to always place family first, and remember that as you go through and get started in this industry. And with that, we're going to turn over to Gabriela Gonzalez, who I said is at home in Laredo. And they are just, the whole community of Laredo is just really challenged with COVID right now. Lots of prayers out to her community. So Gabriela, I'd love to turn it over to you and capture your thoughts.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Gonzalez. I'm currently a sophomore at Texas A&M. I'm studying under construction science. I would like to give a thanks to the opportunity for us to getting the opportunity to be able to look into the industry. And also it's been a pleasure learning from my mentor and for the organization to become a great resource for us. As for my future, I am looking into going into the commercial side of construction, but I am very much open into any possibilities that may come my way. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Gabriela. So we're going to now take the opportunity and we're going to migrate into our panel discussion. And this is where we've given each of the panelists, which are obviously our scholarship recipients, the questions in advance so they could kind of capture their thoughts and put those to paper. So we're going to just rotate. We'll start with Philip, go to, just because that's kind of the order they are on my screen. We'll just go from Philip to Gabriela and to Hunter, and then just continue in that order. And so we'll start off with, so the first question is, how did you hear about the NASCLA Contractor Scholarship Program? And we'll start with Philip.
Okay. I actually heard about it. The head of our construction science program, he sent out an email to everybody in the entire program, seniors all the way down to freshmen, about this scholarship, and told everybody that they should take a shot and apply. And I kind of knew, you know, it being an essay and questions and things of that nature, that it was something real and it would be something to be proud of if you were to win it.
All right. And so Gabriella?
Yes. Well, as the new school year started, I had to take it upon myself to be able to find like the necessary funds for the following academic semester. So I searched through Google recommended page, and I ended up signing up for various of scholarship pool websites. Finally, as I started typing through the construction related scholarships, I was able to come across the NASCLA Contractor Scholarship Program. As I read what you guys were all about, I was immediately drawn in. I will say that I was hesitant to apply because I saw the national title and it was not based in Texas, but nonetheless, I ended up applying, sharing my feelings through the short answer questions, and I felt, and I was selected among the pool of applicants. Words cannot sum up like the gratitude I felt and still do to this day when I was given the news that I was one of the selected. So thank you for that.
We could not be more proud of you. Absolutely. So I have some notes and some things I'm going to send your direction for some organizations that I think will really, really help your career. I know you're not my mentee, but I have some things I want to send your way that I think would be really, really beneficial to you in your endeavors. And so Hunter, how'd you find us?
So I discovered the National Association of State Contractors Licensing Agencies, NASCLA, during my research for financial aid over the course of this past summer. After studying NASCLA's mission statement and goals, I quickly realized that your peak initiative is to support construction contractors throughout the United States. So in learning this, I pursued the NASCLA Contractors Scholarship Program.
That's awesome. We're so glad you applied, and we're so thankful all of you applied. And we hope you take the opportunity to share this with your fellow collegiate students and let them know of this opportunity as you move forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Nyman.
Yes, and before I ask the next question, I'm going to answer it for myself and give you some idea where I'm from and how I got to where I'm at. I was brought up in the construction industry. My father, my grandfather, my great-grandfather before him were shipbuilders over in Sweden. So I was one of those people that at 7 years old had a broom in my hand. When I was 11, I had a hammer in my hand. But I was not brought up to be a person within the industry. My father kept pushing me into medicine and things like that. So I started college, and my first year of college was the pre-med program. And then I reached the point where I just wasn't comfortable with what I was doing. So I had to sit down with my father and explain to him, and all of a sudden a little tear drops out of his eyes because he was waiting for me to make the move. And once that occurred, he inspired me to continue. So I went on to college and finished in construction management and went on to some other things. But that was my inspiration. It was almost like a family calling. So I'd be curious to know what inspired you to enter into the construction industry. So we'll start with, who do we start with? Stephen?
Let's go with Phil.
Okay, yeah, that's what inspired me to enter the construction industry was my dad. Whenever I was younger, I was probably 12 to 11. He had a business remodeling houses, and even though that it was work that I really didn't like throwing shingles in the back of a truck and picking up bricks and glass and things like that. It was so cool to see it. It tore down and be, unusable. And then all of a sudden one day you look up and it's a great space, ready for somebody to live in. And so now, when I came time to decide on a major, I knew that I really like to see things go through to fruition. Tim said it earlier, I would love one day to go down the road and look at a building and say, hey, I had a part in that. I think that's something that's very attractive to me. And so, working in construction and being able to say that there's a building that's sitting there and I had a part in doing that.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a lot of parallels to the way I was brought up too. Hunter?
So yeah, for me, what inspired me to enter the industry? So as a child, I was fascinated with building Lego kits and those Mindstorm robotics units. So I was always inspired by hands-on education. To this day, I still am. And really, I began to appreciate the design aspects of buildings that I would see around me, back home and just wherever places I would travel. So since then, I attributed my passion for construction to these kinds of values, design, assembly, those kinds of aspects. And then I'm going to develop those later on. So that was just kind of a precursor for me. And then I can just kind of go large scale when I'm older.
That's fantastic. I mean, obviously I didn't have Legos when I was a kid, but we did have Lincoln logs and erector sets. So I can empathize with what you said. Gabriella?
Hi, yes. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been particularly interested in STEM-related industries, but a major influence was my grandpa, who was a car mechanic, carpenter, and a construction worker. Upon hearing his stories and watching him work, I myself became invested. I always recall having an interest in buildings especially and how they came to be, but it was not till like senior year of high school that I knew for sure the construction industry is what I wanted to join. After researching more into like the brand new scope of work, and through the advice of a past teacher who graduated from the construction science program at Texas A&M, I was able to picture myself working there. And now that I've studied under a year for the program, I can certainly say that my mindset has grown from just wanting to answer my own personal questions to wanting to advocate for the industry and grow our society together.
That's fantastic. One thing I need to tell you, once you get in the industry, it gets in your blood. It becomes, it's not only an occupation, it's when you can look at a piece of bare ground and months, sometimes years later, they see something on it with people, office buildings where people have offices and realize that just 13, 14 months previous to that, that was just bare ground. So it gets in your blood. So Stephen, I'll turn it over to you for the next question.
So guys, before I ask the next question, I'm hoping that David Turner is still with us, or we can unlock his mic. David Turner is another one of our mentors, and would love to give David the opportunity before we ask this next question to just give a little bit of overview about who he is and where he's from. He's just a fantastic contributor to our contractors committee, and we couldn't be more proud that he rose to the occasion to become a mentor as part of this program.
No, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate the opportunity. This year, I have the fortune to be Gabriella's mentor for the year. Definitely welcome that opportunity. One thing, maybe a little bit about my background. I work for Zachary Industrial. So we're a large scale construction company, primarily that services a lot of the the heavy industry across the country. So our clients are people in the oil and gas industry, the power generation sector, things of that nature. So similar to what I'm hearing today in a lot of ways is just how early on in life, me too, I kind of realized that this was sort of in my blood. My father went to Texas A&M, so that's where my mentee actually is currently attending. So that's kind of special to me. But he did a lot of things. He was in the Air Force. He was a police officer. And at some point in his life, he decided that that wasn't necessarily the best fit for him, and he decided to start an air conditioning business. So a lot of my life was growing up, kind of dealing with and kind of helping him and supporting him with management of his business. So I think that sort of created the spark that I'm kind of hearing in a lot of the stories that are being shared today. So again, I think once, as Al said, once it's in your blood, I think it's a high pressure environment. But at the end of the day, you get to walk home and recognize, really the contribution that you're making to society and the benefits that you're bringing forward. So, I congratulate each of y'all for having this opportunity and winning this scholarship, and most certainly definitely look forward to helping connect with each of y'all and helping you in your journey moving forward. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, David. So I'll add this comment before we ask this question. So, as you become a contractor and you go out and you take some of these various different exams and so on and so forth, some of the exams are a lot more difficult than others, and they're considered to be broad knowledge of the industry, right? So one of the most difficult in the country is the Florida commercial contractors exam. It takes place over 2-3 days out, and it's just incredible. And you spend weeks and weeks, and some people spend 6 months preparing to take this exam, and you learn a whole bunch of stuff that has no value to you, right? It's stuff that wind loads on 100-story buildings or whatever that I'll never use in what I do in construction, but somebody else may, right? So the point of that is I need to ask each of you what type of mentorship or leadership is going to be most helpful that we can give you right now. And quite frankly, I don't want you to think at the end of the year that this relationship ends. I have a sincere interest in following each of you throughout your careers for as long as I'm alive, and seeing that next generation come in and backfill the industry. There's nothing more exciting than that, right? So with that, let's just we'll mix it up a little bit. Let's go to Gabriella first. What type of mentorship or leadership can we provide to you? What can David give you that will benefit you immensely right now?
Well, through this mentorship, I do hope to learn how to be a successful leader. I want to clearly be able to address problems and resolve issues in the most efficient way possible. I would also like to become someone who people see as a mentor or as a reliable source when in need of help. Also, I would like to learn how to adapt quicker and transition from an academic setting to a real world setting, since we all know that these two environments are very different from each other.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Hunter, let's go to you next. What can we give you? What can I give you? What can this team give you immediately that will benefit you?
So obviously the industry experience that you guys all have, just over the course of years you guys have been doing your work, that kind of information and experience that you can give to other people is priceless. That's one of the things I hold near and dear to me, just getting your guys' input, your opinions, your information, because, I aspire to be in a place like one of your guys' someday. But currently I'm just trying to set the foundation for my post-college career for when I graduate from the University of Nebraska. I'd like to pursue, or I like to ensure that I have all the necessary information and logistical information that I need to contribute to the success of a construction company right out of college that I work with. And taking those necessary steps and achieving that is very important to me, as I just want to demonstrate my own success post-college.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. So before we go to Philip, it's interesting. I think back around March 16th, which coincidentally was my 50th birthday, right? We were going to have this massive party. We were going to Greece and it was going to be amazing. Yeah, that's probably never going to happen, right? So in our business conversations, we kept talking about, we need to plan now for when business BAU, business as usual, resumes, right? And here's what we found. It's not I don't know that business is ever going to return to the way it used to be. So we've started talking in my organization, in my church, and various other places about what is business as now. So the thing I'm looking forward to is us all learning together, because we're all going to define what business is now looks like currently and into the future. And with that, Philip, what can we provide you as your mentors, and how what is going to be most effective for you right now?
Kind of as Hunter said, sharing experience. I think I would do myself a disservice to act like I know everything and not learn from people that are ahead of me and not ask questions to people that are out in it, doing it right now and being successful in it. The second thing is kind of in our program and kind of the word spreading around, Mississippi State University. I don't know how it is on other universities, but you're doing your job you're doing schoolwork to kind of go be a superintendent and to work on a job like that. And I kind of see from here that there's all kinds of jobs people have that I really might not really be aware of, whether it's owning your own thing or working real high up in Home Depot. But that would be a huge thing for me, is A, experience, but B, just to know, hey, what really is out there other than the normal things.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I'm going to turn it back to Al for the next question, but I'll tell you this. I am just in total awe and admiration of Al. He's not going to tell you this, but Mr. Nyman has pursued education throughout his career and even recently getting yet another degree out of the deal. So he is a great ambassador for lifetime education and one of the best people I know in this industry. So I'm going to turn it back over to him for the next question.
Well, Stephen, thank you. I was going to save some of it for comments later, but I'll bring it up now.
Sorry.
It's no problem at all. I mean, one of the biggest recommendations I can make to you is, as you start in this industry, is to continue to learn. This industry is so diverse and changing at such a high pace that I had to go back to school and got another bachelor's degree in business information management just so I can keep up with the trends on how the construction business was proceeding. To Stephen's point, yes, I developed an interest in HVAC about 25 years ago and signed up and went to the trade school program at the local university here, local college. And subsequently, I now license HVAC for my company in 20 different states. There was a part of my life where I worked building service stations. I got heavily involved in underground storage tanks. I developed the state of Kentucky's environmental regulations, and eventually became a certified petroleum operations engineer. So yes, there's a lot of things that you could get out of the industry. And just as these opportunities present themselves to you as you travel through your life, seize them, take them, and continue to learn. So with that, let's try Hunter first. What are your career goals once you've completed your education?
So I might have touched on this just a little bit earlier, but I'll go ahead and say it just a little bit more in depth here. So post-college, my goal is to excel in a project management role with a large-scale general contractor for about 10 to 12 years, give or take. Given I have the necessary experience and capability throughout that time, I then plan to break off and then initiate my own local startup general contractor that I can build from the ground up. I find that my personal success will be demonstrated by the achievements and innovations that I incorporate in my company. And through that, I'll be able to take pride in the work that I do and growing the community that I was raised in.
Fantastic. Hunter, if I can make one recommendation to you is take as many business courses as you can get. Because once you decide to break off and go off on your own, you're going to have more than a basic knowledge of how a business is run. You know, the majority of construction businesses fail within the first 3 years because of lack of understanding on how the business should work. So, Philip.
Pretty similarly to Hunter, I plan to get out of school and go to work for a general contractor in whatever capacity that would be. Estimating or scheduling, that's something that really interests me as of right now. And I really like the technology behind, you know, all of the all the construction industry, the technology that's coming out, as in drones and 360-degree mapping software. That's two things that I've really found interest in here recently. But also, as I'm out of school, I plan on investing some of my capital in real estate, whether that's flipping houses for on the side, or having several rental properties. I'm really intrigued by real estate and residential homes as well.
Thank you, Phil. It's funny you say that. I've had a real estate broker's license in the state of Florida for 25 years. And even though I've never used it, actually I did. I used it once when I bought the house I live in right now, but I did it strictly for the knowledge of being able to understand on how I can fit in and help the real estate businesses. So it sounds like you're well on your way. One other point that I wanted to mention to you, you mentioned estimating. As you go through the curriculum for construction management, seize your opportunities as to what you like best. If I have a good friend of mine who's now become an expert on Rivet. I'm sure most of you guys know what Rivet is, but he's just fantastic on it. He branched off out of the industry and is basically working in selling Rivet programs and things like that. And he's found his niche. So just continue to understand that this industry is very diverse and look for your niches in life. So, Gabriella?
Can I ask a question of Philip real quick? I apologize.
No problem.
Philip, one thing that I've always been impressed with about Starkville or Stark Vegas is the fact of how many students go back and reinvest in that community. It's really a community that's representative of the reinvestment of graduates of Mississippi State. Do you plan on keeping any of your operations in the Starkville area, or where do you plan on developing your future operations?
I'm actually from an hour north of Starkville, so I wouldn't be too far to have any kind of property down low. I think it's a great market, obviously, because there's students that have to have a place to live. But I do agree about the people who they get redistributed throughout the community. Once I have friends that they just talk about staying. They don't talk about really moving anywhere, because we'll talk about the future and they'll say, I'm just kind of thinking of sticking around.
It's an amazing community like that, and I'm really thankful. I've had the privilege to come there and both be a student and an educator many times. It's quite a pleasure to visit that community. Sorry about that, Al. I just wanted to throw that in.
Absolutely no problem. Gabriella?
Yes. Some of the career goals I have in mind after completing my education is reaching the construction management position and maybe even trying to go all the way to superintendent, but that's obviously decided if I'm qualified. And the projects that I would like to work in the future are better aligned with that particular level. Another goal, which I have been thinking about more seriously lately for like around a year now, is hopefully working or developing an outreach program that helps minorities, especially young girls around middle school and high school, to become aware of the fantastic industry construction really is. I know from personal experience coming from a primarily Hispanic city, I was not really encouraged to pursue a professional career, and I was even questioned by various people if I was sure I wanted to join the construction industry. So I feel like by bringing awareness into what STEM is and explaining the endless possibilities of construction related careers, we can grow in the percentage of women in our industry.
Gabriella, that's fantastic. Yes, STEM is the future. I mean, that's your main avenue for education for the younger generation. So with that, Stephen, next question.
Gabriella, I could not be more proud of you as a young woman entering this industry. Is quite courageous, but I'm super excited about the future of your career. And I made reference to earlier that I was going to send you some stuff along those lines of some organizations that I think will really benefit you. And they may be organizations you're already members of or gaining from. So guys, one of the most challenging things facing this industry, and believe me, within my company, we execute 12 million home improvement projects every year. We are god awful fearful of tradespeople and resourcing tradespeople into the future. And when we look out just 5 years time, it's really a huge problem. When we talk about, plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters, HVAC workers coming into the future, this is a huge challenge for the industry. And, there are efforts afoot to eliminate licensing and migrate to certification, all of things that will dilute the quality of our end product. You, as well-educated students, already know that to be true. That's why you're in an education program, right? So one of the things that we could really learn from your generation is what can we do to guide more young people into the construction and construction trades industry? And we talk about it, I believe, is it Al, Sector 23 or Sector 23 as a definition classification. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we think about that whole arena, and we'll go first, we'll mix it up again, and we'll go to Gabriella first to get your thoughts, and then we'll go to Philip, and we'll wind up with Hunter.
Yes. Okay. So as we all know, society is always evolving, and and so is how we adapt and reconstruct things. Nowadays, everything's being shifted into the technology era, which is causing like friction between the older generations and the new ones, which is understandable. There's a saying that goes, if it's not broken, why fix it? Which is, I feel like the mentality that some of the industry has, not wanting to transition fully into the new era, since what we have been doing up to now has been working perfectly fine. But I will say that in my opinion, this brand new option is allowing you to find better, quicker, and cheaper solutions to the problems that we have had in the past. So then it's worth a shot looking into, especially since the young people are now growing up with it. Also, I feel like we must construct a way to have a bigger outreach. I think we should start focusing on bringing attention to the construction industry from a middle school, high school level. That way, students as young as 13, 14 already start thinking ahead into what they want to do when they grow up, and they're open into the possibilities of construction and know what it consists of. Also, I want to encourage the different skills within the construction, like plumbing, electricians, and roof experts. That way, it shows everyone that construction is not just one path. Plus, all these craftsman skills are very well paid, interesting, and a respectful line of work.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing. NCCER builds this little, it's like a deck of cards, like baseball cards, and they talk about all the different trades and what those trades pay. And I think when young people begin to find out what those trades pay, it really changes their perspective on things. It's kind of like we need to teach people, what we were teaching kids 30, 40 years ago about computers. It wasn't just an Apple IIe or a Macintosh. It was the future, and it was going to pay amazing salaries out of the deal. So thank you, and thanks for sharing. We really appreciate that, and we look forward to gaining more feedback from you about things that we can do as NASCLA to lead people into this industry and into the trades and into construction science. Philip, your thoughts?
I went out this last spring and got an internship in Nashville, working on a site there, and I just kind of got to thinking throughout that time, got to deal with a lot of tradesmen people who were really good at what they did, and just kind of sat back and said, these are the smartest people that I've ever been in contact with. Like, they're not the CEOs of the companies or, doctors, but they know a lot about what they're doing. And they got out of high school and they went to work. And so I think we've got a little bit of a false idea of what, how you get success. And you've got to go out there and you got to get the degree and be in debt your whole life and have that, piece of paper when these guys are the guys that they're insanely smart and they went out there and they do what they love every day. And also just for the younger kids, I think just showing them what's out there, just showing them, I worked for Turner Construction. They just wrapped up building SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. So this is, a huge stadium that's state of the art that I was a part of a company that built that, but to be, somebody that was actually working on that site, I think that's something that would really intrigue the younger generation.
Awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate you for sharing your thoughts. And we've got a couple more minutes left here to wrap up the panel discussion. I'm going to turn it over to Hunter to gather your thoughts. And really, I hope that we can have a lot more dialogue about this with all of you to get your thoughts, because we've got to fix this in the industry, or the industry will change dramatically. Hunter?
So I believe there actually is a lot of support in building the future construction. A majority of this I've seen throughout my college career. Far as in high school, I really didn't experience much of the trade-oriented hands-on learning that I was kind of seeking. So as I was saying earlier, I want to start my own general contracting company, where I live in Omaha. So one of my plans was, if high schools were to incorporate, trade-specific courses into their curriculums, I'd be able to have like kind of an outreach program to be able to contribute and, maybe even provide aid to kids that are thinking about going into the industry, getting these courses rolling, be able to get them that hands-on experience that they may need to make a decision. So I strongly believe this will encourage many of the next generations to delve into the construction industry, just as long as we implement these little programs into high schools and curriculums. Just because I haven't seen it yet, we got to develop these kids from a young age, because some of them might have their decisions made already, by the end of high school. It obviously depends on the person, but I definitely think these specific trade courses would definitely help them delve in their decisions.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Hunter, and thanks for sharing, and thanks to all of you for being a part of our panel. Congratulations to each of you for your career choices in the construction sciences, and congratulations on being a NASCLA Scholarship recipient. We hope that you share this with all of your friends and so forth, fellow students, about this opportunity. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Linda.
Okay, thank you, Stephen, Al, Hunter, Gabriella, Philip. Thank you for, I'm going to say ditto to what Stephen said, but in addition to that, for being so vulnerable today. I know that this is not probably the easiest thing to do, to really put yourselves out there, and we've gained a lot of knowledge from your shares today, so thank you. With that, I am going to open it up to a Q&A segment. For any of you that would like to ask any of our winners, or Stephen, Al, or David, our mentor, any questions, there is a little chat button on the bottom of your screen. Please feel free just to go in there and type in your Q&As. And while we're doing that, I did want to, if we can move into the next slide, please. Want to announce the NASCLA 2021 scholarship program. Be on the lookout. We're going to be accepting applications starting January 2021 via a new streamlined virtual platform that will make applying even that much easier. So for those of you that are on the webinar today and listening in and interested in possibly winning a scholarship as well, please be on the lookout for that. You can, reference our website, and we'll be also posting that on job boards and scholarship forums as well. And that will be coming out soon. So with that, let me see if we have any questions coming up. It looks like we are good. And since we are at the top of the hour, let's go ahead and move into the next slide, and we'll go ahead and wrap this up for the day. Want to read a quote from Mandy Hale. There is nothing more beautiful than someone who goes out of their way to make life beautiful for others. And with that, Stephen, Al, David, Chuck, I know he's not with us today, but thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. The NASCLA staff just wants to extend a really heartfelt gratitude for your time, your support, your dedication to the future of the construction industry. Each and every one of you are truly an inspiration, and thank you. So with that, if we can move into the final slide. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to our winners for taking the time to apply for these scholarships during such an unusual and crazy time this year. I know there were so many deterrents that could have, gotten in the way of you applying, but thank you. And we really, truly look forward to keeping this dialogue going and to be a part of your future of the construction industry and having you further engaged as we move forward with your career and as NASCLA continues to move forward in the construction industry. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of the joined us today. If there's any questions that you have about the scholarship program, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Angie Whittaker, our Executive NASCLA Director. We also have Hannah Mount that was instrumental in helping this whole process be executed. We're here to be a support system to you.
Linda,
and with that, it's a wrap. Thank you. Go ahead, Al.
I was just going to say that anybody that's on here that has questions concerning NASCLA involvement or the NASCLA Contractor Committee or Stephen or I directly, please don't hesitate to let us know, and we'll be glad to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Al, for that invite. Okay. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and congratulations, Hunter, Philip, and Gabriella.
Absolutely.
Stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Wash your hands, wear your PPE, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Very great job.